Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Steven.
Hello.
And our guest today is Paul Kane. How you doing, Paul?
Good afternoon and welcome.
How's everyone's weekend's been? What about yourself, Paul? What you been up to this weekend?
I didn't go to the game at the weekend. I had a couple of flats that I rent out, so it's a student time for the 1st of September. So that was Saturday. I was at Bullylow's 60th on Saturday night, a real Hibs man, as you know. It was a great night, a lot of the players there, a lot of ex-players, and had a great time.
What about you, Stephen? What you been up to?
Oh, quiet one. I watched the game on Hibs TV and that, and kept quiet after that because of
Drowned your sorrows.
That's it, mate. That was it, exactly.
I was working the weekend, so unfortunately didn't make the Motherwell game. So Theo wasn't there, but I again watched it on Hibs TV. Watched it back last night, which, because I knew the result, was a bit more difficult to do. But yeah, and the Arsenal game as well yesterday, which was a great game.
That was a good game.
But I missed the Old Firm game, but I don't think I've missed much. So I mean, we'll kind of get started with current affairs and that, and the current team and your thoughts on that, Paul. But I mean, recently Rod Petrie left. Get your thoughts on that. I mean, you played your part in organising the rally after the relegation and things like that. How did you feel the years after the rally before he left? Once Leanne came in, did you notice a difference?
I mean, the fans were so much apart from the board when Rod was here. There was not much activity between the fans and the board members. And Leanne's come in and done quite a good job in that aspect, but it couldn't be any worse at that point. You know what I mean? When you look at 6 years before, we had been in the bottom six, then we get relegated, and that's when I just thought the standards at Hibs had got to a point, and I'd seen it happen about 2 or 3 years before it, that I thought, listen, we're in a bad situation here. And it came to the worst situation, obviously, for Hibs, was to get relegated. And I just thought, I've got to do something, try and do something. If I had known at the start that there was no chance of ever getting rid of Rod Petrie, because as long as Tom Farmer was there,
Rod was there,
and you've seen that now that Tom Farmer's left, Rod's left. So we've got a new owner, and Ron Gordon. We don't know much about him. We have to give him a chance, like all Hibs supporters do. He's came into the club, and he's obviously got to have a look, because he's looking at it from afar rather than near, which is obviously a difficult situation to do. But listen, we get the right signs, and the fans will back up with the help. Yeah.
And how did you feel, like you say, so from relegation, how did you feel that things changed when Leanne Dempster came in?
I think
I guess Rod moved into that non-executive role as well.
Well, I still think at the time that Rod was still running the club, I think the true reflection now will be that obviously Leanne will be in a situation now that she'll be running the club, because Rod kind of never gave her full control. You know what I mean? He never gave her full control. But now we'll see if she has got full control, and Ron Gordon will let her get on with her job.
And you, like you said, you're talking about Ron there and the fans giving them time and stuff. Are you excited for the future under Ron Gordon?
Of course. I mean, it's everybody knows I didn't get on with Farmer and Petrie, but that's gone. That's done, and it's like everything else. Doesn't matter who owns the club. Everything revolves around 3 o'clock on a Saturday, and right now the team are struggling a bit. We have to get back to winning ways, and the sooner the better. And
you spoke out when HSL was kind of starting up. You kind of spoke about you were just sort of a bit cautious message when it started up and things like that, because you were worried that a lot of the money might be going towards paying off the debt of Tom Farmer. Now that debt's gone and Tom Farmer's gone, what's your thoughts on how HSL go forward?
Well, HSL were really set up to acquire at least the 25% to stop anything like a Romanov happening again, or what happened before with Roland. And they're going to find it very difficult. Listen, I hope they succeed in their ways, but now where do the shares come from? We've got one guy who's got nominees companies that owns 10%. So if he owns 10% and they can't get any of his shares, really to get to 25, it's going to be impossible. But now is the time they really need to get the 25 to stop another Romanov, as I say, or Roland. They've already been diluted from 18% to 15%. So we just have to wait and see. I mean, there's a lot of questions that we could ask just now, and maybe in a month's time we'll have the answers to these questions once Ron Gordon's had a good look at the club itself and all the different departments. I'm not just including football, maybe the corporate, you know what I mean, the academy side of things, all these different things like that. So to give hard and fast answers, sometimes you got to take a wee step back just now. And the same questions you're asking me now, you maybe have an answer in 2 months' time, because I do believe he's told 3 or 4 groups by the end of October he wants a kind of business plans for all these different departments and where they're going. So by, I would think, end of October he'll have an idea what Hibs is all about.
And I mean, we've spoke to the boys at the HSL at the open day, and we were kind of talking about getting them on, but obviously that was before the ownership was announced, so things have kind of changed since then. So it'll be we're still keen to get them on, but it'll be kind of interesting how things have changed.
I mean, I've got my own shares in the club as well. Obviously, when the share issue came out, I'd got some shares, and I've spoken to a couple of the boys at like the Hibs supporters thing as well, and they're I think they had their meeting last week, and they were 2 weeks ago, and they had asked about like acquiring shares. So obviously I've spoken to them since then, got a bit more insight as to what they're about and what their aims are. But I mean, obviously, like I think what Gav was alluding to was the fact that now they're not trying to buy a club from Petrie and Farmer. Where do their shares go, like in terms of?
There's no shares available just now.
The
only way a share issue would become available if Ron Gordon putting another share issue.
Yeah,
out.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like yourself, you know, giving up some.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, I've already like put some of my shares towards them and stuff just to obviously help the cause. But I mean, it's like minimal amounts. Obviously, you're saying about the boy. It's got other like feeder companies that's got 10% of the club. Whether or not he'll be able to.
Well, I think Ron Gordon's already met the man.
Yeah.
And basically says he wouldn't sell to Ron Gordon.
Yeah.
So
Let's see what happens.
I don't know in that department. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I take it if he's got 10%, he's a real Hibs man. He's going to do the best what he thinks for Hibs.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's paid his money. He's entitled to his
exactly. And as long as
the
shares are in good hands, then you know.
That's correct.
And that's I mean, looking at you've got. I mean, obviously Ron Gordon's still a bit unknown, but we're excited about him, and he's got a lot of shares. So I don't worry too much so far, and he's not giving me any reason to worry the fact he's got so much shares. The 10% and that guy seems to be a Hibs fan. That's good. Right. And then the majority of them, like a lot of shares like yourself. Sorry, not little, but you know.
No, but it's true. That's
in terms of percentage,
and then when you bought your minimum amount of shares you could get.
So I think that the main thing is the majority, all the shares are in good places.
That's
that's the main thing. But anyway, let's get on to the current team. You kind of alluded to that before. So what's your kind of thoughts been on the season so far?
Well, I think the players that have come in through Paul Heckingbottom have suddenly realised maybe that Scottish football isn't as bad as what people make out to be from England rather than Scotland. You know what I mean? It is a hard and fast league. It'll never be an easy game. Yep. Scottish people in general, the nature of them is we're going to, even if playing good or bad, you'll always give 100% and right to the end. Yep. And I think the guys have suddenly found that out. There's maybe a wee bit less pace, not less pace, but the pace of the game down in England's maybe a wee bit slower, and suddenly they're getting caught on the ball a wee bit. Take an example of Vela, you know what I mean, who's a middle midfield player, which I kind of, where I played, you kind of look at these players and there's 2 or 3 times he's just
got caught a wee bit.
Just got caught with the ball, you know what I mean? And is that he's not the best of players, or is it that he's just taking time to adjust to the game in Scotland? Do you know what I mean? But when you're getting bad results and the confidence goes with bad results, suddenly will the guy get the time? Because one thing's for sure, the Hibs support and in general in Scottish football, they demand success pretty quick now.
Yeah,
it's not just at Hibs, it's at most clubs, you know what I mean? It's demanded.
Just on that, obviously, like, I mean, we've obviously brought in, is it 7 or 8 new signings? Nine new signings under Hecky. So I mean, obviously a lot of them have come up from England. So, like, we've got Tom James, Vela, like all good pedigree. I mean, Vela had a good season at Bolton when they were like flying and stuff, and come up the road. But like, should we have looked more like at home, like for Scottish bred players who like know the game a bit, just the pace?
I think if you look at things, it is, we have to accept it is what it is. These are the players he's brought in, but over the piece, when I look at it, people I talk to are Hibs supporters, they're not quite sure what is his best 11, or I don't think he thinks what his best 11, and I don't think he knows what the best shape of the team is yet. And I think that's maybe catching it out by, if you look at it, like Scott Allen playing right wing last week and this week, it's like Marcel going out and playing right wing. You'll do it because you're a professional football player, but to get the best out of a player is to play him where all his good points are good and link him up with somebody where his weaknesses are the best part of the other player's game. Where if you look at when you had McGeoch and you had McGinn, that was ideal for Scott Allen because you had two guys that could pass the ball, worked hard, and he could be brought into the game in the last third where he's deadly. He's deadly. The couple of passes he's made for the goals and things like that already, we know it's there, but what we need to do is we need to see it more often.
And that's the thing, like you say, playing out on the right. I mean, I asked Heckingbottom kind of about that, you know, the fact he's playing out on the right at the press conference, and he was sort of saying the thinking was that he would drift into the middle and that he would, you know, create chances then, and that's fine. It's just he never done that though. He stayed out to the right and had to track the left back. The left back was bombing forward. I think they were hoping he would follow Allen's runs and create space. But I was pleased he kind of explained it, but at the same time it never worked. I
think when you seen David, I'm only went to the game the week before. When you seen it at Easter Road against St Johnstone, when you seen David Gray 2 or 3 times having a word, you could see he was like saying, "Can he come back?" But that's not one of Scott Allen's strengths. His strengths are passing, beating people in the last third and creating opportunities or getting on the end of opportunities, you know what I mean? So I just think when you look at him when he plays wide, you can tell his body language is there, but it kind of his mind's not there, you know what I mean? He's made up in his mind, this is no for me. And you've maybe got half a player is what you should have. If he was playing in his best position, you'd have the full player fully focused on what he's got to do.
See, for me, like, it's just, I was always like, when like Alan was round the first time and we had McGinn and McGee out freeing up the space for him to like make the passes, and he had a wee bit more of a free role. We were playing sort of like 3-5-2, and like, I mean, I'm a big 3-5-2 supporter, but it's just like, you know, that obviously when we were playing that, we had Stevenson, Gray right and left wing backs. And Gray, I mean, he loves a run forward. That's how he was scoring all his goals, and he was cutting in. And obviously, having someone playing in front of him, that sort of stutters him now as well, in my opinion. So that's obviously why I'm like a big supporter of the 3-5-2. But because it gives that wee bit more freedom in the midfield, and I think it's just like, obviously, new manager comes in, new tactics, and like you say, I don't think he knows his own starting 11. But any are sitting here, 3 are sitting here and know the best 11. No, do you know what I mean? And I think that's because at the end of the day, we're not quite sure of the players. And when you're signing 9 new players as well, like you wonder how they're all going to fit in. Like you didn't make 9 signings and then play 2 of them every week type thing. But you've got
the boy James is injured and Scott Allen isn't signing, but to play, you would think, having signed say 9 players, the vast majority would be the backbone of the team. Do you know what I mean? You've got to maybe going straight down the middle, centre half, centre mid and a centre forward. Well, he has bought the 3 of them, but they're not actually playing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if it's just it's taking a wee bit of time to adjust to the game, or he suddenly thought they're maybe not up to it. I mean, Heckingbottom's the only one that can answer these kind of questions.
And one of the players that has been playing has been Jackson, and you have to say, is he playing on merit, or is he playing because Poitras isn't ready yet and because McGregor got injured? So, and you see, he's mentioned David Gray that he got injured as well. Transfer deadline day today. By the time a lot of people will be listening to this, transfer window will be shut. But do you see Hibs doing much business today? Potentially a right back with Gray injured out for 3 months.
I don't think so. I think they would have to. What I'm led to believe, they would have to get some people out, or whoever goes out will be what you can bring in. Do you know what I mean? So if we were getting rid of somebody off the wage bill, then whatever that wage is, that's what they could use to get another player in, because it's pretty tight, you know what I mean? I think but the main thing is, it's no happened on the park for us. We wouldn't be sitting here, do you know what I mean, moaning and groaning, because listen, people that listen to this are Hibs people.
Yeah.
Who listen to your podcast are Hibs people. They want the best for Hibs, they want to see Hibs winning, they want to see entertaining football. The thing last week with Heckingbottom getting booed, I was a wee bit, what would you call it, maybe annoyed or disappointed that he kind of had a go at the fans for
Aye, that's obviously I think what a lot of fans have picked up on since.
I was a wee bit disappointed in that, because at the end of the day, the only reason the fans weren't happy was maybe one, because he didn't play Scott Allen in a position that they wanted to see in, but second, they took a centre forward off and put a midfield man on, so we basically went 4-5-1.
Trying to see out the game at home, St Johnstone.
But it was half an hour to go against St Johnstone at 1-0. And one thing, going back to history books, even to my day, not my day, but even before my dad and all that kind of thing, you know, because they were all Hibs supporters, him and his brothers and that, it was always, whether right or wrong, it was entertaining football.
Yeah.
And I was actually at a thing last Thursday with Gary Neville, who done he was at the dinner for Spartans.
Oh, right,
And one of the things he said, which I thought was great, that he would actually give up victories just now to see the Man United play the way the fans want them to play.
Yeah.
Now, long term, that not be it, you know what I mean?
Of course,
it was very relevant after all the guys' experience and what the guy, he says, Man United are a team that play entertaining football, have wingers, are quick, play good football. He says, right now, we're maybe not ready for that, but he says, I'd rather they went to play the Man United way, or what you call the Hibs way, you know what I mean, and give up victories, than watch something, and he was going to Mourinho and Van Gaal trying this wonderful game of how to do it, and it never happened for him. And I think Solskjaer's maybe got it back to what it was, you know what I mean? But he says it's going to take time to get that.
And what have you made under you said about the style in there and things like that, what have you made of the style under Heckingbottom? There's been a lot of passes between the defence, very patient build up, and what's your kind of...
I mean, I don't know if that's the way they do it in England, you know what I mean, pass it, but it's like sometimes I've had 10 passes and then they're back to where they were. Do you know what I mean? Instead of, and if you've got a manager and he wants you to play a certain way and he wants you to play for the back and play, that's fine, because we all want to play football. There's no player that doesn't want to try and play football. Most people don't just want to hoof the ball up the park, you know what I mean? They want to actually play football and they want to play in the right way. And lately it's just like right back, left back, right across the back, into a midfield man, back to the centre half, and then it's very easy for the other team to do, because it's no fast and quick 1-2s and things like that you're having to do.
I think obviously the downside to it as well, like from what we've seen and like looking at the stats and stuff, like I mean you want Hibs to play a sort of high pressing game, that's what we've been known for, and I think when you're making so many passes at the back, you're actually allowing teams, especially at home, to come onto you a bit. And I think that, like, especially against St Johnstone, that's what we started to see, was that they were moving into our half a bit more. And I think that's obviously, like, we were like loose passes, concede goals type thing.
One of the statements he made when he came in was, we're going to play a high pressing game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, but I haven't seen it.
No.
And that's one thing I was watching, particularly in the Motherwell game, and we'll kind of start moving on to the Motherwell game, I guess. That with when I was watching it back, I thought, right, okay, let's watch for this high press. And what would happen was a defender would get a ball and Flo would run it the defender, and then they pass it to left back, Flo would stop, and Horgan would run towards the left back, and then they'd pass it, and so there'd be one person pressing. Whereas you watch Motherwell and you watch, like I've been watching some things on like how to do a press properly and stuff, trying to increase my football knowledge. And one of the in Liverpool and that are praised for it. What they do is they press as a team. And
I was just going to come there.
Motherwell, when watching their press, they were pressing in threes.
I think you're spot on with that, because it has been the individuals are pressing, but they're not pressing as a team. Yeah. And if you looked at, I don't know if you looked at Chelsea recently, highlighted as one of these things that when Frank Lampard came in, he wanted the high pressing game, and it was on Sky the other week, and it showed you examples of not one pressing, but 1, 2, 3, 4. It was a team pressing, you know what I mean? And as a team, and they got a couple of goals off it, and that's, I mean, the one thing are supporters aren't stupid. They sometimes don't get the credit from the people within the game that they know the game. Okay, you know what I mean? They do know the game, and the vast majority will tell you, and that's what happened last week with St Johnstone. They booed because they weren't happy. They didn't want Hibs holding out for a 1-0 victory for half an hour. They wanted to see more goals.
I think that was
and that's what happened. That Hibs gave. It wasn't that St Johnstone played really well. Hibs just gave up ground and got further back the park. And they're not by St Johnstone playing well. No. They just got forward by, well, there's only one guy up front. If you can't get it to that guy, where do you put it? Yeah. Suddenly they're playing the ball across the midfield and the back, and they're getting caught out, getting caught with the ball. And St Johnstone moved 20 yards up the park, and they're then getting the ball in the Hibs half, which is then a cross or a shot.
Well, I think that's what Dave's been saying quite a lot, especially over the last 8-12 months now, is the fact that it's a case of like teams aren't coming to Easter Road and they're playing well. It's that Hibs are making them look good, just with the passing along the back and then bringing teams on, like inviting players onto them. And like you were saying there, obviously a loose pass, like concede you a goal, or like you lose the ball in your own half, you've already got 4 players attacking you, whether it's like 1 up front or like 2 up front. You've got to have 4 or 5 players on one, and then you've got to be struggling. And I think that it's just you want to see, obviously, what you were saying about Hecky coming in saying, "Oh, I want to play a high press and attacking game, score loads of goals." But when you're not seeing the press, obviously the fans start to get on your back, and then things like last week at St Johnstone happen, and you've got to listen.
Well, we have 3 guys that are Hibs supporters here, and the guys that have got to be listening are Hibs supporters. We want to be talking about great goals, great games. Even sometimes if you get, well, I'll give you a period, 5-5, 6 in Motherwell, right? Yeah. We can all remember that. Why? Because there was 12 goals in the game, right? Now, in certain situations, probably that was a great game. Neither team deserved to win or lose, you know, but it was a great game. Oh, many mistakes at the back. Well, I'm not really worried about that. I've seen six goals for Hibs and 6 goals for Motherwell, and that's what we want to be talking about. All football clubs, at all levels around the football, winning the game at 3 o'clock. You win, and you keep winning like we did with Hecky at the start. 10 games in a row. You know what I mean? There was games that there we shouldn't have really won sometimes. If you go to the Rangers on the Friday night and things like that, they could have been what they were the last time at Ibrox. It could have been that at Easter Road. Yeah. But nobody talks about that because we got a point at the game and things like that, you know, and it kept the run going.
And one of the reasons we got the point was the changes Heckingbottom made at half time. You know, and it was the same with the St Johnstone game. The first half was one of the worst performances I've seen, and it came for a goal behind, and you know that pass for Omeonga who came off the bench. And,
that's right. Was it a game of yeah, it was at a game.
With 10 men as well. It was absolutely brilliant. So you know, Hecky's shown that he can make the changes. It's just. But one thing, I said this in the press conference last week as well, it was like he, in that 10 game spell, I think there was one change to start in line-up, and it was Omeonga came into the team because they couldn't keep him out. Other than that, the team, it was just a very consistent team. You go back to last season, and I mean, I've made this point before about, you know, when you were talking about McGeer, McGinn and Allen, you could pick that team every week. It was so predictable, you know, kept flowing, the plan up top, the back 5 and then the goalie. It was, and that consistency led to, you know, consistent performances and the team getting better.
If you usually look at most successful teams, every week you can probably pick 9 or 10 players out. There'll be the odd one that'll be a change through injury, suspension, or a guy might be off form. But in general, right now, you're not sure. If I was to ask you the next game at Killie, what would your team be? One, they might sign somebody today, but you would be unsure. You would be unsure to pick even half a team. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And usually, even if a team's not winning each week, you could pick at least 6 or 7 players. Right now, we're kind of struggling with that to do that.
I think literally you could only pick maybe 2 or 3 at most. You've got Marciano, Canberra and Allen. Like, I mean, that's the 3 that I would start pretty much every week. But the rest, there's just far too much chopping and changing.
The one thing I'll be looking at in Canberra, he has played well recently. But is that because
Basel were in
there was a move on? When he signed his new contract, as I say, they put the tools in the bag. Up until that time, he'd done the business. When he signed his contract, it looked as though he put his tools in the bag and stepped off.
Yeah.
Recently, I think because there's maybe a chance of a move, he's came back onto a game, you know what I mean? Now, I just hope that he doesn't, after the day,
shut up shop.
if it doesn't happen for him, that we're going to have the same player as we had last year.
Yeah.
I'd imagine, I mean,
which was a purer player than he was the year before.
Yeah.
And I mean, if he's had these links and moves, I think, you know, January is only a few months away. You know, he'd want to make sure he's still in those conversations for those clubs when January comes around. So I hope anyway that's the same.
As I'm looking at it, clubs will be looking at that. And they might say, well, he's took his foot off the pedal because he never got the move. I don't need that. I don't need that at my club. I need a guy who's going to be playing week in, week out, trying and training, trying in the games, trying every time, you know what I mean?
Especially when you're talking about the money that's involved with players now as well. Like £3 million, I think, was what they were stating. Papers were stating. So if you're talking about that kind of money, like, you want a player that's got to play consistently.
I think we would be selling him enough.
Exactly, 100%.
To be honest with you, that's like 30,000. That's like 30 million for Morelos. Yes.
No way, 100%.
If a Chinese club that already got too many foreign players, aye, okay. Anyway, so one of the main reasons there's been a lot of criticism has been leaking goals. Now, the reason I wasn't at the game, like I said, I was working at the weekend, but I was fortunate enough I was able to support a guy to the Livingston game, and watching the Livingston game, you know, Livingston are fantastic, but Marvin played the 90 minutes, sat in front of that defence, protected the back four, and I let the 5 in front of him play. Now, I'm not saying we need Marvin specifically back, but have we kind of, with our transfer business so far, not really addressed Bartley and Mulligan leaving?
Well, I liked Mulligan as a player. I thought he had a lot of experience, and I thought he used his experience very well for Hibs, really, really well. Whatever happened, I don't know what the reason was why he left. You know what I mean? I thought he would have stayed, but and Marvin Bartley, he was like when you went to Ibrox, Parkhead, Tynecastle sometimes. He was your bit of brute, the force, whatever you want to call him. You know what I mean? And I don't think that the players that have come in so far, I may be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to hold my hand up, but I don't think the players who have come in to play his position are better than Marvin. They're definitely no better than Mulligan, that's for sure. But I don't think even the players that have come in are better than either 2 players that we lost.
No.
So
I think it's one of these things as well where, like, you turn round and, like, you drop 2 defensive midfielders out your team, and then you make this claim that you want to play attacking, pressing football, which makes sense. It all sort of ties in. You lose your defensive midfielder if you're going forward, but I think, like Gav says, it's just more the inconsistency and the type of football that we're playing, and you can't really justify losing the 2 defensive midfielders.
If you want to play not attacking football, but what kind of robotic a wee bit, that players are
systematic.
You know what I mean? It's, if you look at Craig Levein, now Craig Levine's been getting away with playing the long ball for whether he's been at Hearts or whether he's been at Leicester or whether he's been done United for years and years. With that kind of football, you have to be winning, because fans won't accept paying good money on a Saturday to turn up to watch a long ball or non-winning football. You know what I mean? What they will accept is they'll accept young players playing for the first team and seeing them coming through. They'll accept the triers, 11 triers going out every week, and they'll accept that they want to have a wee bit of entertainment. Do you know what I mean? And right now we're probably not getting any of these 3 things for the club. You know what I mean? We're not getting any of the 3 things. And it's I've got to say, it's kind of sad that we're actually talking negative rather than positive. You know what I mean? I mean,
And they were 9th after 4 games.
But you've got to be honest. I mean, most supporters, if we were all sitting in after a game and sitting having a drink or something, you'd be sitting talking about the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's like just off the back of what you're saying. I mean, it's like you can come on a podcast and say, "Oh, we're trying to look at positives," but like there's no really anything, like there's no silver lining at what's happening at the moment. And I think, like, can you say it's another transition period? My biggest thing with Heckingbottom so far is that he's come in, he went through the 10 games unbeaten at his start of his run. But yeah, he's only got 1 win in 12 games against top 6 teams, and like for me, when you come out and you say, "Oh, we're going to be playing European football at the end of the season," how can you play European football if you can't win against top 6 teams?
Well, the one worrying thing that I looked at from last year was when Hibs went to Ibrox and really needed to win the game to get 3 points to stay in the hunt for Europe.
Yeah.
And he said that day before the game, "I'm going play 4 up front."
Yeah.
I didn't see 4 up front.
No.
I see McNulty in front of his own,
Yeah.
running about, having the desire, but I didn't see 4 up front. And I found it strange after the game. He thought Hibs controlled the game in the second half. I thought Rangers kind of took their foot off the pedal, and that's how we came in. A bit like the St Johnstone scenario that we had on Saturday. Hibs taking, drawing back and giving up advantage of the ground. And I just thought at that point, maybe he's more a defensive kind of manager than he is. Listen, and I'm not saying that's right and wrong, but when you come to a club, a manager should do his due diligence on what the club is about. Yeah. And whether it's right or wrong, Hibs are about flair, attacking football. Yeah. Whether you've got the players or not got the players, that's been the history of the club long before I was born, long before you guys were born, and long after it's born. Just the same as Man United have got that kind of flair, you know what I mean? It was, and that's one of the things that the Hibs fans expect is to be given that, because that's one of the things they expect to be in the top 5, because we should be in the top 5. We've got the budget to be in the top 5, we've got the fans to be in the top 5, everything's there for us to be in the top 5. Okay, it's going to prove difficult this year with Rangers and Celtic, because the 3 teams so far behind them have not actually proved they're going to maybe get the wins that you're needing to each team nick a wee bit off each other to finish there, you know what I mean? So I think it's going to be the 1 and 2 will be Rangers, and then the gap after that, there will be a gap rather than what it was last year or the last couple of years. There'll be a gap, and then it'll be who's on form to get that number 3 spot, and then after that it'll be 4 and 5, you know what I mean? But that's where we should be aiming every year for, in the more years, 3rd spot, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so just sort of quickly going through the Motherwell, just to kind of finish up on the current team. I mean, when we saw the team, just sort of, so we're saying about, you know, defensive midfielder and stuff. When I see the team, we put out a graphic on social media as to kind of be like, what's how the team are setting up. And I put Slivka defensive mid, because I thought, no. And then I watched the game back and I realised it was Malin that was playing the defensive mid role. And, you know, Malin's a good footballer, he's got a lot of good, you know, can kick the ball, a lot of good attributes, but he can't defend. The
problem we've got is the 2 guys that are good football players can't defend. Yeah. And you can't play them in the same area, like Scott Allen and Malin in your middle of your park, like McGeoch and McGinn. McGeoch and McGinn had football and they had the running power. Great running power and great football ability. Scott Allen and Malin, but they can't defend. They don't watch runners run off them, they don't track back kind of thing. Yeah. And that's why he's got a problem with it. He has to either play one behind or one in. And then what does he do then? He then only has one up front. We Canberra and Allen. The only other way he could go is to go the diamond sometimes and put Scott Allen at the head of the diamond and play Dodge, play Canberra, but then he loses it. If he's a width man, he loses his width. Yeah, and we've got quite a few wingers at the club at the moment. And I mean, there was one bit in particular saying about Malin there, and I mean, I'm no attacking Malin.
as you know, it's
You
more.
just,
it's
you,
more
all you want is better. You want better out of him. That's why we're
like
here.
He's a good player in Malin, but he's been playing in the wrong position. And he, it's not his fault that he came through St Mirren as an attacking left winger or attacking midfielder, number 10 or number 11, and we're playing him number 6, and he doesn't. It's hard to kind of learn how to defend.
He's too far back the park to be effective.
I mean, you look at the teams of the league. You've Scott Brown, apparently a brilliant performance yesterday, playing defensive mid. Ryan Jack, has played right back in his career. He knows how to defend. You go through all the teams in the league. They've all got ball-winning midfielders that can play that defensive midfield role. And there was one bit in particular with Malin where I think it was Campbell was bursting forward and Malin was marking him, and Stevenson had committed out to the ball up to the right wing to about halfway line, and Campbell thought, alright, okay, and this happened throughout the game, but there's one in particular which is, I've put the graphic up online, so Campbell runs into the left back position, Malin follows him, and that means
20 yards of space.
There's nobody in front of the defence, and they can run at the defence. And they've done that again and again and again. They just let people go out of position, and dragged Malin out of position with dummy runs, and they were getting space.
To be fair, maybe to heck and what that we were asking him to put a team out there every week, but James is injured.
Yeah.
McGregor got injured. Now Gray's injured. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Stevenson's not had a pre-season.
Stevenson's not had a pre-season, but. And a lot of success is built from the back.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? You've got your strong. Usually your goalkeeper, your strong back four, and a couple of midfielders, and then you've got your other 4 players at the flair players kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, like in football, you're not giving long.
Yeah,
and that's not just at Hibs. That's just in general football now.
Exactly.
In society and football in general, they want everything so quick. Everybody wants it so quick. We want to be up there, challenge it.
No,
are we really ready?
Well, I think that's the thing. Like you've got a lot of fans who are like one or two ways. I think this is a problem. Obviously, a lot of fans are says, like especially myself, like 9 months in the job now for Heckenbottom. He got a bit of a feel with the club. He made his statement at the start of the season saying he wants to do this like high pressing attacking football, which obviously we've not seen. Like you say, obviously with James getting injured right at the start of the season, bit of a problem. Gray, Stevenson not having the full fitness.
And the player that's been a big miss is winger.
Martin Boyle.
Martin Boyle. He it's not till you realise he goes out the team how much a miss he is.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he is a big miss because he sometimes takes us from our own 18-yard box to their 18-yard box with just a great run.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And although Horgan's more of a dribbler, he dribbles in, dribbles out, you know what I mean? But whereas Boyle's more of a straightforward A to B as quick as you can with the ball, you know what I mean? Horgan's more of a dribbler and dribbles and does what it has to do.
I think with Horgan he just tends to do a wee bit too much a lot of the time, and that's obviously going back to getting caught on the ball. Like if you're picking up the ball in your own half, and
they're also playing with a wee bit lack of confidence.
Yeah.
When you get beat, and even if you looked at when we started the season, our performances against even like Alloa, Morton, we got the victories, but we weren't convincing. You know what I mean? There was times in that game where you thought, well, when the goalie comes rushing out for Morton and gives Canberra virtually a free goal, at that point Morton were actually on top of the game.
And Alloa as well. Alloa passed it about really well. Impressed with them, and we kind of let them.
All three guys here have been to these games, and we've just said the same thing. That it's unconvincing, and we've never had a convincing performance yet this season where you go, it should have been a 5 or 6 now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or we dominated that game. We only won it 2 now, but we should have won 5 or 6.
Yeah.
We've just not had that kind of performance yet. And I think maybe sometimes it's be chopping and changing the team, people not getting a wee partnership, not getting to know each other's game. Maybe it's the new players all coming together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because when I played with Mickey Weir, I played right back, and I used to know when to give Mickey the ball, when not to give Mickey the ball. I never put like a long ball for Mickey. Mickey got the ball at his feet, and Mickey done the wee tricks. I would overlap and get it, or I would play a pass rather than a long ball. And we knew each other's game.
And that takes time.
Yeah, of course. And maybe the point is that bringing 9 players into a team, we've just not had the time.
And we do have the time now, so 2 sort of questions to finish up. Was the international break came at a good point for Hibs?
I think so. I would say. I think if it takes a wee bit of pressure off this game just now, Kilmarnock probably haven't had a great start to the season.
No.
If you looked at it, apart from maybe Celtic and Rangers,
Nobody's really.
There's not been another team that's actually went. Well, you could look at Livingston, right? Yeah, but
You wait for them to sort of tail off. At the end,
but there's nobody you would go, oh, that's the third best team just now. They've started like Hearts last season, 10 games in a row, undefeated.
They took real advantage of folk having Europe and things like that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no team who set the heather on fire.
Yeah.
Out with the old for them.
I think the biggest one on that was Aberdeen, like when we were sitting at the St Mirren game, and I think they drew the first league game, and we were sitting there and we were wondering, like, why are Aberdeen like going out and getting a 4-0 win, like, because obviously based on the performances last season.
They're going through a bit of transition as well,
Exactly.
a lot of new signings, a lot of folk leaving, so yeah. And then finally on, I guess with the current team and stuff, sort of finishing up with that, the majority of the fans seem to have given up on Hickey. I think it's in a poll on Facebook or something, like 88% of people and 12% like we're saying Hickey out and Hickey, 12% Hickey say. How long did the board go before they start asking questions? How many more games?
I don't think that the board will have to ask. I think the fans will tell them.
Yep.
And
you don't feel the fans are telling them at the moment?
they're telling them, but what you've got to look off will be a drop in the crowds. And what you did see against St Johnstone is maybe a couple of thousand less than what we normally have.
Yeah.
Is that a sign? If that is a sign that carries on to the, well, to be honest with the Hearts game, I think the Hearts. I think if you looked at, we don't want. If you looked at Kilmarnock beating Hibs, and then you look at the next game, I think that'll be a big tell. Do you know what I mean? If it's still, that'll be a huge tell because people will still turn up for that game. The fans will turn up. And the hope we get the win. Doesn't matter how we get the win. I know it sounds different after talking about, we've talked here about shapes and thingy and entertaining football, but when it comes to you're on that wee run, you're just looking for anything. So if they got the win against the Hearts, it can change people's opinion that day. If they didn't, I think that could be a turning point in Heckingbottom's career here.
And am I right saying the next league game, the next game is Kilmarnock in the Cup?
We've got Kilmarnock in the league, 15th,
then the Hearts,
then the Hearts, and then the League Cup.
Then
the Celtic will be on the Saturday.
If we lose to Kilmarnock and then lose the derby, is Hecky in charge for the league game?
I think, well, aye.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, Leanne Dempster has brought Paul Heckingbottom in. So any person who backs their judgment, Paul, George Craig and Leanne Dempster, they've got faith in Paul Heckingbottom. They've brought him to the club.
Yeah.
They're going to give him as long as possible. The people that will tell Leanne Dempster and the board will be the fans.
Yeah.
Now they've already alluded to it in the St Johnstone game. They've already alluded to it in the the Motherwell game, with the boos at the end of the game and things like that. For the guys that were at the games that told me, if that carries on to the next game, it's only going to carry on and get more and more. And the big crunch will be if they get beaten in the derby. Pressure's on.
Yeah.
Pressure's on. It takes a lot of. Well, it takes a lot to go against the majority of fans. Fans will always be able to tell the club what they want. Okay, and it'll sometimes takes an owner to have a big heart to stick by the manager. And some of them will, if you look at Alec Ferguson, he won at Notts Forest in the FA Cup, he won the FA Cup. Now, it takes a lot for that club at that time, because most of the Man United fans are walking them out. And they turned round. And what happened? If they'd have got rid of him at that time, would there have been the generation of what you got? You know what I mean? So, it's, in general, it's usually the fans that will tell you
It reminds you
Feel
kind of like when Moyes took over after Ferguson left. It was like Moyes had the backing of Ferguson. He was his hand-picked man to replace him. Came in and it took time and he wasn't really given a chance, but then he just sort of burned out. The fans were really on his back and it went to the owners. And
I think what happened in that is there was a colossus that had left, and the players were still used to looking for that colossus, and it wasn't there.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things with that.
Do you know what I mean? And I think it didn't really matter who it was going after Fergie. It was going to be a very, very difficult job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've heard Rio Ferdinand talk about a lot. Just quickly on Man United. He was saying there was a lot. Moyes probably changed too many people in terms of like he got rid of the goalkeeping coach, he got rid of the first team coach, changed all that as well.
Too quickly.
Aye. And also there was just little things that, like Fergie used to tell them the team on the Thursday, so they knew right this is what the team's going to be. So, right, okay, I'm playing centre back. You let's go do some quick work together. And that Moyes wouldn't tell them the team until the day of the game.
Virtually the team an hour before the game.
And there was a lot of big personalities in the club at that time, including like Rio, that couldn't deal with that. So yeah. And
don't forget here, we out the equation, we've not brought Ron Gordon into this equation. I'm talking about Leanne Dempster.
Yeah.
Ron Gordon will be looking at this situation. He'll be saying, this is no good enough, this is not what I came here for, this is not why I bought the club. Maybe it'll be taken at the end of the day out Leanne Dempster's hand and Ron Gordon. Do you know what I mean? Ron Gordon may go, I've had enough. I'm the new winner. It's my toy.
I mean, he's got money in this deal, and this is his asset, and he doesn't want his assets depreciating in value. I don't think we're at that stage yet. But
no, and I don't know how much Ron Gordon knows about football. Do you know what I mean? I've not had a conversation with him. I've not met him before. I don't know how much he knows about football. But in a time of disaster, I never want to call it a real disaster, but it's no where we should be, and it's nowhere Heckenbottom should be with 9 months on. We should have the seems a good team. We should have you can see going. Well, what would you say as a Hibs supporter? You're probably worse off now than what you were when Heckenbottom came. Do you know what I mean? After 9 months, when he came, he had that initial buzz, and now we're sitting here looking. We're worse than what we were.
Some of the heck he's followed has been Lennon. We spoke there about Moyes following Ferguson. Do you think it's one of the reasons that fans are, as well as a result of being a bit impatient with him because of who he's followed? Lennon very much fancy. But I mean, I know you spoke last year about how Hibs would go back a bit if we let Lennon go.
Well, listen, for me, Lennon was a real deal. Neil Lennon was a real deal. He had everything in his locker. If you were having a situation like now, he has to deal with Celtic. When he was manager at Celtic, he had to deal with pressure that is unbelievable pressure. So he knew what pressure was about. He knew how to do it and get you out of these things. He knew the Scottish game inside out. He had everything. Why he left, I don't know. The only person who can tell you that is probably Anne Dempster and Neil Lennon from the meeting that they had. But for me, he was a real deal. And I could see us going one way. And challenging Rangers, because Rangers were in that. Do you know what I mean? They weren't a lot better than when you went to Ibrox. There's one thing for sure, I don't think that Neil Lennon would have got beat 6-1 at Ibrox.
I think his thing was that he knew that he could beat Rangers, and whether it was with Celtic, even if he was manager of St Mirren, I think he would go to Ibrox and he would think we can go here and win.
He's got the attitude of a manager that the Hibs fans liked.
And then comparing that to, I mean, I don't want to bash Heckenbottom too much, but for him to come out and say, we're going to draw games at home at a point, that's where a point against St Johnstone, he's saying we're a point closer to where we want to be. Hibs fans aren't going to accept that, especially when he's coming after Lennon, who was getting ready to beat Rangers at Ibrox.
I think he just didn't do his due diligence, say what Hibs are about and what the fans' expectations are. He may have had the board's expectations, but I don't think he realised the fans' expectations, where they should be, how they should play the football, what we want. And I think it's maybe just came as a wee bit of a shock that this is a bigger job. And maybe he realised that he thought Hibs is a big job, a big job, and there was plenty of guys that something happened, they would want this job because it's a good club, great support, and basically all the things are in place for it to happen.
Okay, so we're going to finish there with the current team, and we're going to move on to talk some stuff about you, just sort of about your career and things like that. Now, you know, it wasn't Pat Stanton that signed you, but I'm right in saying he gave you your debut at Hibs.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, for Hibs fans, Hibs aren't playing this weekend, but it doesn't mean that there's no something Hibs really to do. There's still tickets left for the Pat Stanton event. So, starting with that, how did you get involved with that?
I've been the chairman of the former players. I started it with a guy called Willie McEwen. Willie used to be the Hibs kids. He first started the Hibs kids. So we still sit next to each other at the games now, and we've always had a great relationship, and we just like a lot of the ex-players to be looked after, because I mean, they're part of the club's history, and they shouldn't be just forgotten, because everybody's got a hero, everybody's got a favourite player, everybody's got a bad player kind of thing, you know what I mean, in all different eras. Some of the guys are younger now, Reardon, do you know what I mean, O'Connors, Scott Allens, but there's older guys that grew up watching the team, John Collins, Mickey Wears. There's somebody's different hero, you know what I mean? Well, there's somebody's different heroes at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So everybody's and when I joined Hibs in 1982, I joined straight for school to Salvation Boys Club, and a guy called Kev McKee, he was a right back. Him and I joined on the same day, and basically it was great. I mean, I signed a 2-year ground staff contract at the time, and basically the wages were £31.92 after tax, £35, and a £5 expenses. That's what I got.
Get you a bus fare back again.
I was too bad. I just stayed all the rest of it, so it wasn't too bad. But that was the wages. But to be fair, it wasn't about the money. It was being given the opportunity. And what had happened, it was very, because I was like Mickey. I was quite small and I still played. Like Mickey played with Portobello Thistle. Yeah. I played with Salvation Boys Club, and we were on the Weir side. But Salvation Boys Club played at S forms. They used to have S forms. Yeah. So Hibs had an S form select. It was the Easter holidays, and we basically thumped Hibs 5-0. And I got a trial on that at Easter Road. I played another trial, and the third trial they signed me for the summer. And great. My dad signed for Hibs in 58 to 61. Then he played in the first team. Broke his leg when he was a young kid, and then broke his leg at Aberdeen again. A guy called Toby Ogston. So, and then they had the East of Scotland team, the reserve team, and the first team. And like, first team was the East of Scotland team was creme de la creme, but the first team was like, you know what I mean? So I've been brought up a Hibs man all my life. My dad had my mum's got 3 brothers all Hibs supporters. In fact, my uncle sits right along for me. My dad's brothers, a lot of them are dead now, but they were all Hibs people as well, for Leith. So it's been steeped in it.
And I'm right in saying you say your dad was on the books at Hibs. I'm right in saying he didn't make an appearance?
He didn't make a first team appearance. He only played in the reserves and played in the...
How was it for him to then see you play for Hibs?
My old man's hard to please. It's the old school. If I used to get an alright in the game, I'd done alright. And then he would... But no, I think it's like anything. He'd probably be his proudest punch, you know what I mean? To see... I've got 5 girls, so it'll never happen. Well, it might. I shouldn't say that because it might happen with football and girls' football. You know what I mean?
The ladies' team's coming on leaps and bounds.
Do you know what I mean?
Next week,
do you know what I mean? So you would look at that and say, I'd be proud. He followed me everywhere. Followed me to Norway. Not as every weekend we could, but he followed me with Hibs weekend we could. Oldham. Some games, maybe not to London. Aberdeen weekend week out. And then came to followed me to St Johnstone week in, week out, and Clyde was the last club I played at, and he followed me there. So he's always been there by my side, but it was good because he had played football, he understood football. Do you know what I mean? So when he was talking, you listen because he knew the game.
You know.
I knew the game.
There was an interesting story though when you started about standing on a rusty nail that might have
Building a supporters club or something.
Oh no, that was my first day in the Hibs job wasn't anything to do with football.
That's right,
It was Kenny Walk owned the club at the time, old Kenny Walk, and they were building a new sponsors lounge. It was a tiny wee lounge, and we were all to basically get the barriers. So we only had trainers on, and it was a big piece of wood, and I stood on the piece of wood, and it went into my foot.
Oh.
And Tam McNiven at the time was the physiotherapist. Says, "How did you do that?" I says, "I'm helping be like a labourer." What do you mean? She says, "We're doing the sponsored lounge." "No, you know." I says, "I'm Tam, come Tam it off his head." He's not doing that, he's a football player. So no. But listen, these were the groundings we had to do. There was times Marcel and Mickey, Kevin McKee were in the first team squad, and the board on a Friday used to put the squad up, and you would have it, names and all that kind of thing. Team sheet, 3 o'clock, be at 1:45 at Easter Road tomorrow, or be at the bus at the neighboury, whatever it might be. And but for Easter Road, there's times we have been Saturday mornings, came out, because they had, I don't know if you remember this guy, but the old North Stand. Remember it?
Yeah.
We had to wash the sheets.
Aye.
We had to wash the sheets, so I had the big mop bucket. Used to go along with the big mop right along the row, right along, by the way, right along. And then 2 hours later, we were playing football. Or 3 hours later.
That's
Honestly,
aye.
we used to have to, I hate to say this, but there was the things, the gullies. You know the gullies? We had to clean them out. But listen, it was great grounding. Great grounding.
For character building as well.
Do the boots and everything, it was brilliant. We've got a bond like Marcel, Kevin McKee, wee Mickey, Gordon Hunter. We used to be singing in the stands.
Yeah.
We were singing the Hibs songs. No problems at all singing our hearts out, you know what I mean? But we've still got that bond now, you know what I mean? Even to this day when we get back together, that bond for us all coming together, with Johnny Collins, that great.
How was it coming through all together, you know, and sort of fusing apart and stuff like, you know, I think a lot of people could have called it a golden generation of, you know, young Hibs fans coming through and playing for the team. How was it?
We were quite lucky, because the season I joined, the season before, Hibs had an under-18 team, which was like Gordon Byrne, Carlo Carola, a lot of good players, of good players for Edinburgh. A guy called Kevin Hogan and Stuart Ray had played in the, I don't know if you remember, it's a 5-4 game at Wembley. Paul Ryder scored a hat-trick.
That's right,
They won the under-18 league and the Scottish Cup. Won the double against Celtic. Now when Kenny Watt came in, he bought the club over for Tom Hart, and he got rid of some of the guys from Glasgow because of expenses, and some of his guys for Edinburgh were lucky. We stayed. It could have went the other way. Could have been some of his guys for Edinburgh, you know what I mean? But they saved the expenses, and so there was a cull, kind of like a cull of some of the young guys. Half the team was taken away. They just got rid of the Glasgow boys and wouldn't pay their expenses, and right or wrongly, you know what I mean? Nobody will ever know if that was right or wrong. But it was the Edinburgh guys that got kept on, maybe because the story saving money and expenses and things like that. So that happened that some of the guys that were maybe a year older than me, maybe 2, I wasn't competing against them anymore. I was just competing with the guys were here. So it was a smaller squad of young guys. So you maybe came through a wee bit quicker. If it had been a bigger squad, who knows what would have happened. But lucky, as I say, lucky for Marcel, Kevin McKee, Gordon Hunter and all these type of guys that worked in our favour.
And I was reading that, you know, like obviously Pat, we're speaking about Pat and his evening at the weekend and things like that, and he was your manager that gave you his debut. I was reading that he resigned and then he was persuaded to come back. How was it to go through that experience?
I can remember Jimmy Rourke, George Stewart and Pat Stanton were the 3 guys. Like, Pat was my hero, just the latter end of his career, I seen my hero. And Jimmy Rook, what a Hibs supporter that is. If there's a bigger Hibs supporter out there, I would like to meet him. He was steeped, and Big George was. So we kind of had what I would call my management team. Great players, great Hibs supporters. It just didn't work on the park, you know what I mean? And that we used to have, I don't know if you remember, downstairs was a gym. It was like the police cells. I don't know if you've ever been there, like that. They used to be downstairs. It used to go into the old stand,
right,
turn to the left, and be the kit room. And they basically would go through to the back, and it was just a gym, small gym. We used to play 3-a-side football in there. But we used to play in the afternoon. There would be about 5 of the ground staff, and there'd be George Stewart, Pat Stanton, Jimmy Rook in one team, and then 3 of us would play. We would come on and off.
Aye.
Great learning. Great learning.
Yeah.
They were like winners. And you learnt in these games and things like that. It was absolutely brilliant. Jobs didn't get done. We done them maybe later on and got home later on, but it was fantastic. And you were standing next to Pat Stanton, Jimmy Rook. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. No, Pat resigned at Motherwell, and he came back in, and then but one thing about Pat was when he spoke, you listened. He wasn't a ranter or a raver. Do you know what I mean? He maybe said sentences or words, and you listened to them and you thought, oh my word. I remember a Hibs and Hearts game. It was maybe early doors of my career, and I was giving it all the big licks to him. Come on guys, come on, let's get into the other side of the tune, let's get wired into them. And he done it in front of the players, and I now know why. Listen son, do your talking on the park, not in here. And I can still, it's like me sitting in the dressing now. I can look at his face now, and the words are there.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a statement.
Aye.
Do your talking on the pitch. Then he get wound up off the pitch, you know what I mean? And it was great. It was absolutely fantastic when you look back on, and that was kind of what Pat was. Just 3, 4, 5 words, but they meant a lot in that sentence. It wasn't 6 or 7 sentences talking a lot of rubbish or rambling on. It was basically great, thank you very much.
Aye.
And I've never forgot it.
And some of these success he's had, I mean, he's had a League Cup run and got to the final against Alex Ferguson's Aberdeen. Also, Alex Ferguson's going to be there at the weekend. How was it playing against Ferguson's team?
Well, they were an unbelievable team. They at Gothenburg. That was through John Blackley. We got to the final. Pat had left by then, and then John Blackley took over, and Tommy Craig. So George Stewart and Jimmy gave up, and John Blackley came as assistant manager to Pat Stanton. And then Pat gave up, and John Blackley took the job, and Tommy Craig came. And Tommy Craig was a big influence on a lot of the young guys, because he used to take us back in the afternoon for training. He was a midfielder, so it was myself, John Collins, midfield players, you know what I mean? He used to take us back. But John Collins, he come on as sub that day, and he was only 16-year-old against Fergus.
Aye.
I can remember in that game, and I remember standing in the tunnel, and first in line was Willie Miller, Jim Layton and Alan McLeish, all with the Vaseline on their tail. They'd been everywhere, they'd won cups, this was our first cup final for a long time, you know what I mean? And I was only like 18-year-old kind of thing. And then basically, and our first 3 guys was Ian Munro, Alan Ruff, Benny Brazil. Benny, whatever people tell you about Benny Brazil, 100% player. Everybody picked him. All these different managers he had picked him, you know what I mean? But you could just see the difference that day in the tunnel. These guys had been over it, done it, knew it, and you were just thinking, I was looking it up. and they were a team, they knew how to play. I remember hitting a shot for 25 yards and Jim Leighton saving it. And that's two things I remember most, was that shot and also the size of the Hibs support. It was the first time I'd seen, you know what I mean, as in playing.
Yeah.
First cup final I'd been to in 85, and basically I was 20-year-old, and to see the size of the support that could come out.
Yeah.
Over the years we've seen plenty now, you know what I mean.
Is that the one where there was 35,000 in the ground and another 4,000 outside?
I was Dunfermline.
Or was that the Dunfermline?
I was Dunfermline game. I came up. I'd went to Oldham at that point,
right.
But I came back up for that game. But
right.
that was that game.
Right.
But listen, when the Hibs supporters see there's something on the horizon, they will turn out. They will turn out.
And I mean, you mentioned Leighton making a good save there. You also played with Gorham and also Alan Ruff. What? Who's the best keeper you played with?
Alan Ruff was Pat Stanton's first signing, £40,000, which was a lot of money in the days. A lot of money in the days, but it was well spent, because in the days, rightly or wrongly, he was bought to survive relegation, and we did survive relegation. And it was if it wasn't for Alan Ruff, he was fantastic that couple of seasons he was there, but he was still Scotland internationalist, World Cups and things like that, you know what I mean. He had a big, what do you call it, probably brought a big game mentality to Hibs for what he had done in his career, and a great guy, great team spirit. That's one thing we had in these days. Maybe didn't have the prima Maradona, you know, the Maradona or the best players and that, but we had a great team spirit, and that's what got us through a lot of the games, where all the guys would muck in together, and if you threw the towel in or put the toys at the pram, they would tell you in the days. Don't know if it would be called bullying now, you know what I mean, but you didn't get away with anything. It was a great education. Ralph Callan, Gordon Ray, Alan Snedden, all these different good players. They would look after the young boys, Eric Shadler, all these type of guys. Great professionals, and looked after the younger kids brilliantly, and taught us the game, you know what I mean, taught us how to be players.
But you look at that, like in comparison with like the Scottish Cup winning team in 2016, like we never had any big names in our squad. I wouldn't say, like maybe Stokes to a degree. McGinn was still fresh, he was like just signed that year, and like you look at the Rangers squad, I think they had like 8 internationalists in their squad at the time.
But it was their club's first ever cup final.
No, exactly. Yeah, you look at that. But at the same time, it's like it just shows like what that like team spirit can actually like get you on a bit.
Listen, if Stokes could play like that every week,
oh no, 100%.
He wouldn't be out the game.
No.
He was unplayable that day.
Yeah.
He had the game of his life, and brilliantly for us, it worked. He had the game of his life. I like to all the rest of the guys, you know what I mean, but that Stokes stood out that day.
Because he won the corner that led to the
listen, he just I don't know what came over him that day, but it was out to prove a point, because he maybe his connections with Celtic and all that against Rangers and that, but that day he was unplayable. And brilliant for us. Listen, I mean, I had my 5 daughters at that game that day. The only person I didn't have who I'd love to have been there was my dad. He was on holiday, but we had been to so many times and saying, right Dad, Scottish Cup final, we'll book a holiday, we'll know the other year, you know what I mean. And then the 1 year, there's probably many stories like that, you know. The one year is unreal, and over that whole weekend of the Scottish Cup win, I never had one drink. I was working the bars, and it was great because but looking back now that I wasn't drunk, it's brilliant, because I've got so many stories to tell about people who came into the forehand and the different pubs because I was sober. And if I was drunk, I probably wouldn't remember them, but that had a huge impact on Hibs. Do you know what I mean? If we had lost that, Stubbs was on real sticky wicket. You know that yourself. You know what I mean? There's
a lot of folks.
I mean, they covered a lot, papered over a lot of cracks at the time. But listen, we won it, and we've enjoyed it, and we will enjoy it even more. But it was absolutely brilliant. To see Leith walk, to see, did I ever think I would see Leith Links where I'd played football, like I was at St Mary's Star and seeing the Kirkgate and I went to Holyrood, that was my area. Did I ever think I would see that many Hibs supporters in Leith Links? Memories, unbelievable.
Now, one of the things you're most remembered for, I mean, obviously, you spoke earlier on about playing in your first Edinburgh derby. We were going through a period where, let's say we didn't have a good record in the Edinburgh derby, but 10 years without a win against Hearts, but you scored.
Well, there was a combination. Obviously, Hibs were down in the first division, Hearts were down for a couple of years. So it was a combination of maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe even 4 years.
Never actually met.
They never actually met. So the relevance is, there wasn't a win, but there was 4 years where we never played against each other. Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, we got our first win. You scored the winning goal. How was it, to score that?
Well,
to connect,
kill
that hoodoo.
Actually, I scored in my first derby I ever played, but we got beat 2-1 at Easter Road. I scored first, and then Craig Levine, I think it was Craig Levine scored to make it 1-1, and they scored in injury time. It was the day that a guy jumped the fence of the Hearts and tackled Jackie McNamara.
Right.
And Eric Shearler was playing. And Eric Shearler, nowadays he probably wouldn't get away with it, but he just grabbed the guy by the throat, and Eric was the strongest and fittest man I've ever been involved with. Unbelievable. Grabbed him by the throat and just stood with him until the police came. The guy couldn't move. Just grabbed him by the neck and stood there. So that was my first real memory. And I've still got a guy for the Daily Record sent me a photo saying, listen, I know you're a Hibs man and I'm a Hibs man, and it's like me running back towards the Hibs end after scoring a goal, and the whole of the Hearts end's like just like pure.
Going daft.
They're not going daft, it's just like nothing's happening.
No.
We just scored and you could see the ball in the back of the net, you know what I mean? Wish that happened so many other times. But what I remember about the game of the 2-0 was I took the shot and Eddie Mair scored the first one, and I scored for the header. It was David Duff and James Gray were the chief exec chairman kind of thing at that point, and they came in after the game. We were on £500 to win.
That's a lot of money.
And they came in and went, by the way guys, thank you very much, you've just made my day, you're on £1,000 a man. and doubled the bonus.
Aye.
And it's the first experience I've ever had of that.
Wow.
Like them just coming in and going, that's double bonus.
Amazing.
And the boys, honestly, the boys went, well, can't ask for anything. Well, no, it's all the players were on the shower and just went, right guys, that's showing double bonus. You're like, oh, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
They were well liked by the players.
Yeah.
Because they done a share issue, and what they done is they reinvested the money, and like Marcel, John Collins, and gave us contracts. Because previous to the wages at Hibs were something like £200, £180 and £20 appearance.
Yeah.
You would go, and I'm telling you, and then they kind of like quadrupled their wages. For £200 to like £800, going up to £1,000. So that's, they took the shares and they invested back in the team. They bought Keith Houchin, they bought Stevie Archibald, who by the way, one of the best players I've played with.
Mickey said the exact same thing last week.
For a guy who had played at Barcelona, and we're talking years ago,
Yes.
in Spurs and that, he gave the young guys so much. He gave us so much his experience to make us better players. It was brilliant. And what a player.
Yeah.
He was the guy who got 15 goals he scored and he got us into Europe.
Yeah.
That's right.
15 goals and he got us into Europe. He used to say to me, Paul, when you're playing in the midfield, pass the ball in between the centre half or the left back or the two centre halves. And I said, why? He says, I said to him, but you're always offside, aren't you? Every time I date you. He says, but see the one time I get through, you're getting your bonus, sonny. And by the way, he meant it.
Aye.
He meant it. And right enough he was.
And that kind of takes us to my sort of question there about your time at Hibs. You mentioned Europe there. How was it getting to play for Hibs in Europe? Heading over to Hungary.
Well, the best one we had was obviously 3-1 in Videotone.
Yeah.
We had the 3-1 in Videotone. But the great story to tell was the actual first leg at Easter Road.
Right.
When we played at FC Liège. We had beat Videoton, we played at FC Liège. And I was on the penalties. I used to take the penalties. And for some reason, Gorham chopped up and me, listen, who's taking the penalties? I says, well, I'm taking the penalties, I normally do. What's the problem, mate? Like, he went, I think Houchie's on good form now. What about Houchie? No, I was shooting on Alec Muller saying, no, it's Kano. Anyway, nothing was said. I said, you want Houchie in it. What I didn't realise is Gorham had money on Houchin scoring the first goal. He told me years later, because I was his roommate, right? And Gorham was a great lad, a great lad. He says to me, I said, when we done the penalty, what happened there? He says, I had him on for the first goal, so if he was taking the penalty, or he had a chance of taking a penalty, we would get it.
Chance, sorry.
And the great memory for Videoton was, there was Frank Graham had sponsored the club at the time, and there was an old man who's 90 now, called Billy Erskine. Lovely guy, real Hibs supporter. And I can remember after the game he came on the bus and he had a big box of champagne. Now, when I say champagne, it wasn't the champagne you would think. It was the champagne from over there, which was the best, but not the good. And I didn't drink it. I didn't drink it. Started drinking. I was 32. But I'll never forget the guy came on the bus, and he was greeting. And I said, Billy, what are you greeting for? We've won. He says, son, I couldn't be any prouder than the lot he's in. He was on with the sponsors being on the bus, director's box, and the whole lot. He says, son, I'm so happy. I've never been like this for years. Thanks very much, and he gave the boys the champagne. And I'll never forget the guy, because I knew him anyway, but just that what it meant to be the Hibs supporter, you know what I mean? Yeah. That we had kind of made that we had kind of made his day. Yeah. We had made his day. You know what I mean? We had made his dream come true, basically.
So after that, you decided to move on from Hibs. What was sort of the reasoning behind that?
I was at Loggerheads with Alec Muller. I didn't think I wasn't playing the best, because it was month-to-month contracts and it went on for a while. And I'd got to the point where I wanted to go and try something new. Like Collins had left, Gorham had left. You know, your pals begin to leave, and you just wonder. Oldham were sitting second in the old second division before it became the Premier League / Championship. And I thought, I'll go down there and give it a try. I was there for 10 months. Never really got a chance, to be honest with you. Never thought I was given a chance, or maybe it just wasn't good enough at the time, you know what I mean? But looking back, I didn't regret it, because it could have worked for me, you know what I mean? I came back up the road to Aberdeen, but I really wanted it to work in England. Started the Premiership there, played at Anfield, played at Old Trafford. These things are memories, you know what I mean? And then I came back up to Aberdeen.
So why was it Aberdeen that you came back up to?
They were the one that bid. I don't know. Joe Royal came to me one day. She says, listen, son, we've got a bid for Aberdeen. I says, have you accepted it? Yeah. I said, well, listen, there's no point in me really. You made up your mind when you accepted the bid. If you didn't want to accept the bid, you would have said no. Yeah. So I went up to Aberdeen, and Alex Smith was the manager that signed me. He was there a month, and then Willie Miller took over. I liked Willie. Willie was a man's man. Yeah. If you played well, he'd be praise you. If you played bad, he'd be
tell you.
I liked him. He was a straight talker.
I was half my family's from up Aberdeen, and sort of speaking to my cousin about stuff like that, and my uncle about having you on and stuff, and they were saying really great memories of your time there. So.
I enjoyed Aberdeen. It was a bit, it still is a big club. It was a big club in the 80s, because they're only too far away for a couple of seasons before they just got beat to win the league with the Rangers thing and all that, and they still had the big time mentality, you know what I mean? last year was the only year I didn't like at Aberdeen. Roy came as the manager, and I never got a game under him, and I was fit to play. You know what I mean? And that's the one regret that I didn't either get away from the club or he didn't play me, because when you're fit you want to play. When you're injured, that you understand that there's a reason why you can't play. But I lost maybe 40 games that season.
When you're fit,
I lost 40 games to wherever I had played. I could have had another 40 games of experience playing for whoever it may be, but for some reason Roy can, and I still don't know to this day why it is.
And Mickey spoke last week about finding it quite difficult to play up against Hibs at his time at Motherwell. Obviously you had a bit more experience at 4 years. How did you find it coming up against Hibs?
I would say the one memory I have, Aberdeen played Hibs in a semi-final of the Scottish Cup, and we played at Tynecastle, and I set up the goal for Scott Booth, and it was right at the Gorgie shed. You know what I mean? Right. It was cut back. I set up Gary Smith in the goal, and I never ran away with my hands up like that, because I respected. And it probably happens a lot more nowadays than what it did in the 80s, but I never ran away with my hands up or celebrating that. Listen, I was happy, you know what I mean? You score a goal for the other team, I get that, but I didn't go and try and milk it and put it, because I respected the Hibs fans that had supported me. Some of them had booed me, by the way, but you know what I mean? But I respected them, that it was because of the Scottish Cup. It was another downer maybe, you know what I mean? We didn't know we were going to win the game at that point, but we did win the game, Aberdeen. But I respected the Hibs fans more than anything else.
I suppose being a Hibby yourself as well, like, it plays a big part, because you're
listen, I used to
you go out and do a job.
When I was on the ground staff, there used to be a supporters club. It was called the Artisan Supporters Club, and it was a guy called Bobby Duke that started the branch. It was quite a big branch, and then what happened is it went for the Artisan to the Torino, which I've got now, and then they took it over and called it the Torino branch. But while it was the Artisan, I used to go to a lot of away games. People would see me, you know what I mean, and because I had support first and foremost, you know what I mean. And we went in the Torino. I used to go in the Torino branch as well. Good memories, great memories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great memories.
So just getting towards the end of your career stuff. So what was it how did the Norway one come about, and how was it that experience of playing in Norway?
I had been at Aberdeen, and I hadn't played for like a full season. And Raymond Sparks, he was a commercial director at Hibs many years ago. And David Duff and Jim Gray were there. He approached me, he was an agent. He had been an agent to John Collins, and asked if I would go to Norway, and I said, well, what is it? He went, well, you're the Bosman. So Bosman, we can use it. So the
first one in the UK, were you know?
I was the first one in the UK to use it. John Collins was the first one to sign for Monaco pre-contract.
Right.
But I was the first one to actually use it and play for Viking Stavanger. It was great. If I had went, I was 30-year-old when I went there. If I probably had went when I was younger, I would have stayed there.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Oh, beautiful. I never had kids, but it was beautiful. It was a lovely place. Team was good. We finished third in the league and got to the UEFA Cup. Everything went well, but I came back from there. No, December I was to get sent tickets to come home, so I could go and do the pre-season training, because they have a pre-season training about 2.5 months, because they only have that short April to October league, and they never sent my tickets, stopped my wages, so I had to go to FIFA and win my case. I eventually got the wages, but it took forever. But Aberdeen hadn't paid me wages for about 15 months, and they had they could still lay claim to a transfer fee for me, because the red tape hadn't come through. I trained at Hibs and I trained at Motherwell. I trained at Hibs under Jackie McNamara and Jim Duff. I trained at Motherwell with Alan McLeish. But none of them were prepared. I remember it was Hibs were in dire straits about when we went to the playoffs. And the day of the signing deadline, Jim Duffy comes and says to me, listen, I'm looking for people to score goals, and so Lee Power and Paul Tosh were the two guys. And what I didn't know at the time was Simon Stainville was an agent, and Raymond Sparks was an agent, that Dundee were due money for these Paul Tosh and one of the ways Jim Duffy could have got his money is by taking the player for Dundee.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So don't know if it's true or not, but
it would have been good to have you back for that sort of running stuff.
Well, I don't think I was ever going to happen, because Alec Mullen at that point was we didn't see eye to eye on and one of the things was what we've talked about right at the start of this was about the style of play. Rightly or wrongly, you know, it was about the style of play. Alec Mullen was, and looking back now, I've got to say that probably I didn't give him the credit he probably was. He was a manager that if you brought into the club, that basically would keep you up, but to take you next stage. But and yet, when you look at some of his teams, I don't know if you've seen them later on in life. Michael O'Neill, Darren Jackson, Kevin McAllister, Wee Mickey, Keith Wright. Some great players there, and forward going players, you know what I mean? But I think he had built that over. Well, he was there for like. I remember we were going to Aberdeen, and we used to leave on a Friday at 2 o'clock. We'd come in at train at 2 o'clock, and then basically go travel up on the bus early and stay overnight. And I remember Alec Muller coming and going, and we had all heard in the morning he was getting sacked. It was on a rough ride. He was getting sacked. Reporters were phoning at some away. He came up, there's a board meeting this morning. Anyway, came back onto the pitch and we stopped everybody saying, and they said, some of you didn't think I was going to be here, eh? You think I was on my way. I know what's been going on, reporters have been phoning you and all that. He just generalised it. He said, well, I'm going to tell you now, some of you will be gone before me, because I've just signed a 3-year deal. So that was when I left, because I wasn't getting the best out myself, and I didn't see it going. Do you know what I mean? But listen, with a changer, to play for the team that you love, to play for the team that you supported, some great, some real highs, you know what I mean? Yeah, there's been some disappointments, but there's no many people that can say they've played for the team that they've actually supported.
I know.
For day one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Some guys are lucky to be brought up Hibs, born into a family Hibs. I was lucky to have that and play for them at the same time and meet many great people over the years that I still know now, and meet many great football players. You know what I mean? No more so than Pat Stanton. I mean, Pat Stanton is a great thing to me. Sometimes when you meet people, your heroes, you get disappointed. No Pat Stanton.
No.
If you've ever met that guy, there's no a bigger Hibby and there's no a bigger gentleman in football. And that's why these guys should maybe try and turn up on Saturday, one for Pat, but also for his grandkids got brain damage, and that's what we're doing it for. Allied to Clasp, Cancer Leukemia and Advice Support for Parents is the other charity we're doing it for. So if you can get along, guys, because there's no a lot of football on unless you want to sit and watch England on the telly at night, which I don't think you do.
No.
Come along, guys, you have a great night.
And we've noticed the tickets been selling well. I mean, you know, I had a look last Monday when, you know, Mickey was on and stuff and that, and we were having a look at tickets, and then looked at it this morning, and it's really selling well.
The problem you had when we kind of opened, we had the Paul Hanlon do. Then we had the start of the season tickets and things like that, and then we had the festival. We didn't know when to really open it up, so we tried to have a soft advertising campaign. It wasn't costing a lot of money. But as the times went on, it's got nearer to the gig next Saturday. It's working out quite well. It's working out quite well.
It's a right good time to, like you say, international football and stuff. So there's no club football at the time, so
that's
good time to do it. So I mean we're going ourselves and Dave and that, and really looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a great
Perfect
night.
guys, that's great.
So
that's great.
Okay, so if it's alright, we're going to finish up with some listeners' questions. So we'll ask some people some
questions.
And then
no problems at all.
Okay, so we're going to finish up with some of your guys' questions for Paul. So we're going to start with Joe here, who's asked, this is on Twitter, the best manager you worked under in your career.
At Hibs.
And just in general.
Just in general. Well, I would have to say Pat Stanton, because he was my favourite player, but I love Pat because he was a quiet guy, and as I said earlier on, he was a midfield man, and that's where I played. Yeah. So all his experience he would then try and pass on to me, and to get something of that calibre and the stature of what he had in the Scottish game was absolutely brilliant.
Hibernian Retro asked, what is your favourite Hibs kit that you got to play in?
We actually played, I think it was a quarter final of a League Cup against Aberdeen. We got beat 2-1. We should have won the game. I scored with a left foot, but we played in all white. It was a Frank Graham away strip, white shorts and white socks. And Gareth, we should have had a penalty that night. Schneider's brought down Gareth and we should have won. But that was, I remember that because I can't remember what it said, but somebody's, by the way, do we not look like Real Madrid? No, do we not look like Real Madrid? And I just like it was beautiful.
Aye.
And I liked the Frank Graham Adidas top.
Yeah.
I thought that was
I think that's
fantastic.
everybody's favourite. Yeah.
I think you see a lot of that. A lot of time tops for your era. I think that's why they probably had the question. They making remade and things like that. And
I thought they were. That was a great strip.
Yeah,
100%.
The green and the white one.
Yeah.
Someone's asked here, what was the best and worst moment in a Hibs shirt, and what did you learn from both experiences?
I think the best experience was actually making my debut. I mean, the real debut. I played on a Friday night. It was a game against Swansea, and there was rugby on the Saturday. So Hibs had brought Swansea up, thinking they would get the crowd from the Wales supporters being up. But that was just a friendly, and I came on with 30 minutes to go, and basically my first touch was I lifted my foot over, and the ball went right underneath it. I can picture it in my mind now how right hand side, right beside the dugouts, into the north enclosure, and I put my foot and ran right out.
Sounds like a best and worst moment.
It must have went, what have we got here? And my worst thing, from a personal point of view, George Best played in a Jackie McNamara testimonial game. He came back to play in Jackie's testimonial, and I went on his sub for George. So I says to George when I was going, George, am I right at Hibs, man? Can I get your top? It was Tommy Younger sponsored. It was a Tommy Younger bar, which is a Harp and Castle now. I says, can I get your top, George? He went, no problems, I'll give you it after the game. Fantastic. So in after the game, I was dying to go off the pitch to get the strip off George. Gets the strip, goes for a shower. Somebody stole it.
You're kidding.
Somebody knocked the strip. And to this day, it's the biggest disappointment in my life.
Not having that.
Never find out who it was.
Never found out who it was. Nobody's ever came forward. So,
I don't think
Ken McKee, are you listening? Or is it one of the older players? I couldn't believe it. I was like, I had my heart set in it. You know what I mean? I planned it for the day the game was starting to. No, couldn't find it. Couldn't find it.
George probably went a wee bit.
So there's a couple of questions on Facebook now. Jim's asking if you're match fit for the upcoming derby.
By the way, I'd love to play in these derbies. Love to play in these derbies. The best derby we played was obviously when Marcel and Steve Archibald scored, because we were down to 10 men. 10 men. It was fantastic. Big Gormley got done. He got sent off. We played well that day. I mean, in all the time, God bless him, he's a good pal of mine, but John Robertson was the difference. If we had John Robertson on our team, we would have won more games than we lost. That was the difference between the two teams.
And he was in the Hibs setup, and you talk about yourself and Ricky getting let go for being too wee. He was the same.
We Robbo. What happened is he went to meet Tom Hart, and they said to him, listen, can I go home and talk to my brother Chris, and Chris was playing for Rangers at that time, and if you don't sign now, son, you're not signing at all. Man, you never signed. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know what I mean? It's just one of these things.
A similar sort of question here from James asking if you're still able to play most Saturdays, but seriously, what was it like pulling the Hibs jersey for the first time as a professional, and describe walking out the tunnel to face Hearts?
Fantastic. Things about maybe James and that can only dream it, you know what I mean? I done it, Mickey done it. Mickey and me were the same breed, you know what I mean? He knew he was for Clary, I knew I was for Leith. We knew what Hibs meant to the supporters, and we still do to this day. I mean, the best feeling is obviously scoring against them. I mean, I scored against them in my first game, Derby, which was great, but we got beat. In fact, I remember the name now, Derek O'Connor was the guy who scored an injury time for Hearts. And so to go from a high, you scoring, to an almighty low, you know what I mean? There's one thing for sure. When Hibs got beaten in the Scottish Cup final, I hate mentioning this 5-1. There's no way that me, Mickey, Gordon Hunter, these guys would be out partying at night. And I think that summed up at that time what was wrong with Hibs.
Yeah.
8 lone players, and then they didn't know what Hibs was about. They didn't know what we were.
Heard Gary O'Connor talking about that in an interview with Cy Ferry recently about you know the guys not getting it, and you know after the final they were laughing and joking and stuff, and he was ready to fight them and
gone up with 2. There's no way. There's no way. Thank God, it never happened to me. You know what I mean? But there's no way we would have been him in the house.
Probably would have been him.
I mean, pull over just. And that summed up the Hibs at that time. 8 lone players. Try to build a team around 8 lone players.
Never going to work.
Nah, never.
And I'm glad that's something we've moved away with from this year. You know, Maxwell's on loan, but it's a backup keeper, and then Middleton's replaced Boyle. But you know, if it wasn't for the injury, we'd only have one loan player this season. So
that's right. No, he did come out and say that at the start of the season. That was one of his principles. Why should you beef up a lone player for somebody else to get the benefit?
Yeah.
Exactly correct.
So Matty on .net's asked, you know, you came through with such a good team. Do you ever feel that he's kind of maybe slightly underachieved, no winning any trophies or anything like that?
Well, I think if you look at it, the wages in the days were I mean, in the days I came through obviously Jackie McNamara, Ralph Callaghan, Alan Sneddon, Alan Ruff. Do you know what I mean? Hibs were paying £180 and £20 appearance. And that was for the first team guys. That was nearly like me. You know what I mean? We were on a lot less than that. But Celtic and Rangers were playing £325. The team that was getting paid the most in the 80s was Dundee United, who won the league. Because they were on £150, but they were getting paid £500 for a win. And that's why they won the league. That's why they won the League Cups. That's why they done well. I like the good players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just. But you know what I mean. They were getting paid the best.
Okay, I think that's the last of the questions we've got there. That's us kind of done there. So, so thank you for taking
guys. Great, loved it. And
if
we can help you with guys like Gordon Hunter and all these type of things,
it'd be amazing.
The more the word of Hibs is spread.
Yeah, it's great. 100%. And honestly, it's been great just sort of hear you talking about, tell some great stories and just sort of talk. It's just, I've really enjoyed this week and last week hearing you and Mickey, you know, as Hibs fans, talking about your time playing for Hibs and stuff. It's just great to hear you guys still have the passion, and it's brilliant.
We still go to the games. I'm still there every. I've got 4 season tickets with the kids. My daughters will grow up that way. And we hope that when they have kids, they're Hibs as well. You know what I mean? The more we get, and the more we need.
That's it.
Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers for that, Paul. Thanks.